you for being here for the SRUSA Women's Soccer webinar with Jade Pennock today. As I've said, if you haven't done it already, if you can just mute your screens, that'd be great. That'll help when we're talking. There'll be less interference. And secondly, just to let you know, obviously for child safeguarding, we'll record this, and it'll also be available for people to watch back through again if they want to afterwards. Also, just to let you know, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to see under there, there's a chat section, which throughout the presentation, if you want to put any questions in there for Jade or myself, or a few other people that are in here, you can do. And then what we'll look to do kind of at the end, we'll look to answer as many questions as possible from there. Just to give you a quick kind of run through of the format of the presentation, I'll be explaining a little bit about what we do here at SRUSA, and then I'll be looking to obviously integrate. Jade's the one you want to hear from. She's been through the process very recently, and I'm going to look to pull from her experiences of, one, obviously been over in America, being a student athlete, and then secondly, kind of what life's like now that she's come out the other side, and she's obviously playing semi-professionally with Sheffield United. So just to start on the introduction side, for people that don't know, my name's John Maloney, and I'm the head of women's soccer here at SRUSA. Now, I was lucky enough to go over to America in 2005. I was a young pro at Doncaster Rovers up until the age. I actually got the opportunity to go to America at 18. Like a lot of, I guess, male and female players today, I was hell-bent on making it as a professional here in England. So for me, it wasn't something that I was too interested in at the time. We actually had a coach who came over from America who kind of took us through what there was to offer over there. He came down, spoke with my mum and dad, and took us through everything. And although it sounded like a great opportunity, for me at the time, it wasn't really what I was looking for. Now, move forward a year, I was kind of on the verge of the first team with Doncaster, who were in League One at the time. I'd been on loan at York City, and it didn't really quite work out for me here in England. So I was really left. It was kind of April, May time. I was left in a bit of limbo as to what I was going to do, and I was starting to apply for clearing for university over here in England. And I got a call from out of the blue from a best friend who'd been over in America that previous year. Now, as I say, this was 2005, so showing my age a little bit, it was just around the time when kind of Facebook was starting up and all that side of things. So I'd kind of seen what he'd been going through, and it seemed like a really good experience. Obviously, it was a big decision for me, so I spoke with him. I said I needed to speak with the coach, which I then did. And after speaking with the coach for about half an hour, 40 minutes, my mind was made up. Went downstairs, told mum and dad that within 3 months I'd be going over to America. Now, at that stage, I didn't really fully understand exactly what I was going into. But by the time I got over there, I soon found out, one, just how seriously they took the men's side of things on the football side, but probably even more importantly on the flip side, the women's side was taken just as important and taken even more seriously than the men's side over there. So I was shocked, one, at the level that it was played at, and again, as I say, just how seriously they took it. For me, it was the best 4 years of my life. Best experience. As I say, Jade will be telling most of the stories tonight about her experiences. But for me, what an amazing opportunity. And then, as I say, I came back after those 4 years, and it was always something I wanted to do, was help players go over to America. And I set up the women's side of SRUSA in 2013 because I felt there wasn't a dedicated service for women footballers, which you guys deserve. So we set that up, and then I was able to work that part-time, and then I was able, after a year, to leave my full-time job and do this full-time. And it's certainly a passion of mine. I'm very honoured in the fact that I'm able to help players kind of go through the experiences that I went through. As I say, tonight's more about, obviously, Jade, you talking about your experiences. So if you want to kind of just start off, Jade, just give a quick introduction about, obviously, your time before America, where you were over in America, and then also just give us a bit of background about where you are now as well, please.
Yeah. So my background is I started off at Leeds United. I went through their academy from under 10s, broke into their first team at 16. And then at 18, I always had in my mind that I wanted to go over to America. So at 18, I went over to the University of Montevallo in Alabama. I spent 4 years there. And then I went on to the University of North Georgia to do my master's, played a season there and coached there as well. So for the last year, I was coaching rather than playing. So when it came time for me to come home, I'd had a year out of playing. So I reached out to John because I wanted to get back into playing, back into football. And I signed for Harrogate Town, where he was the head coach at the time. So I had half a season there. And then I signed for Doncaster Bells in January of that year. We won the Super League 2 that year. And then after that, I signed for Sheffield United, where I've been for the past 2 seasons. So that's about it so far.
One thing that I will say about Jade is that she's modest and she's very humble. She was an All-American over in America with the University of North Georgia, which is basically the top award over there. I'll be asking her a bit further down the line just to talk about when with North Georgia she obviously went to the national tournament and how that was. And as I say, very humble, very modest. Been nominated numerous times for the FA Women's Championship Player of the Month award. And has scored 14 goals and 6 assists this season before, obviously, COVID-19 put a stop to that. So Jade is someone, as I say, she's a great ambassador for us at SRUSA, but she's very approachable. So for me, please feel free, as I say, that the chat function is open at the bottom of the screen for you to put any questions to her kind of throughout the presentation. Just one more person I want to introduce quickly is my dad, Jade. So what he deals with the parents when we run trial events and kind of gives a bit of a parent's perspective. So I don't know, Jade, if you want to give a quick introduction just from your side of things.
Okay, yeah. Hello, everyone. My role is really all about giving you answers to questions. As we go through this process, if I can help parents just address any issues that they have, or any of the soccer players as well, the process is designed to take you through this step by step. At the end of it, you might decide it's not for you. You might decide, I'd like to take it to the next stage and get more information. That is what we're all about, giving you enough information to make the right decision for you and then support you all the way through the process. Would be as simple as that. The only other thing I would say is, please ask Jade as many questions as you can tonight. She's the key person.
Brilliant, thanks, Jade. No pressure, Jade, tonight then. So just as we get started, so we're just going to run through. Once this loads up, we're just going to run through the presentation itself. So just wanted to give you a bit of background about who we are and what we do. So on the men's side, we've been helping players since 2010. And as I talked about, on the women's side, 2013. So we've built up a great relationship with coaches over in America who trust our opinion and know that they're going to get good players and good people. Everyone who's involved has been down the US college soccer route. So for me, we're able to pull from our experiences to offer the best possible service for our players. Open and transparent about all processes and costs. What I'll do afterwards is there'll be I don't want to bombard you with information tonight, so there'll be an information pack that's emailed out to you that kind of takes you through all the processes and costs. As I say, great experience. We've helped place hundreds of players from throughout the UK and Ireland over the past kind of 5 or 6 years. And one thing that we do, which I'll talk about a little bit in a bit more depth as we go through, we help players all the way through. So it's not a case of once you get your offers or even once you fly over to America, even when you're over there. And like as Jade said, even when you come back, we look to help you find clubs. So as part of this service, we kind of help you all the way through. Obviously, lots of scholarship money has been received by our players, and that kind of shows just how seriously they take it over in America. And something that's really big for us is we've got obviously some great partnerships throughout the UK, and one of those is with She Kicks magazine. So She Kicks is the leading online platform for women's football over here in the UK, and they came on board with us about kind of 4 or 5 years ago when they were seeing the work that we were doing. Obviously helping female players with the dream of becoming student athletes. And that is certainly a partnership that we take really seriously, and we're really proud to have them on board with us. So benefits of playing at US University. You get a high standard of playing and coaching. Jade, I'm just going to bring you in here. Obviously, if you want to talk about, I guess, the transition that you made from obviously playing here at Leeds United, as you said, up to the first team, to going over to America, and just talk a little bit about the playing side of it and obviously the coaching that you got as well.
Yeah, so until you get out there, I don't think you quite understand how big it is, like John said, and how serious they do take it. So for me, I felt like going over there, it was like transitioning into a professional environment. So the facilities over there were really good. The coaching is really high standard. They look after you on a physio side, recovery, making sure you're eating well. So then that made it easy for me when I transitioned to come home to be in a professional environment over here, because that's what it was like over there for the 6 years I was out there.
And as we kind of talk about, as we'll go through within this presentation, the other thing you're looking at is that you're studying for a degree as well. Now, it's important to talk about here. Obviously, both Jade and myself studied sports degrees, but you can study a wide range of subjects. So it's not just sport-based. So if you wanted to study business or you wanted to study law, there are opportunities for players to do that over there. So it's important to realise that, as I say, the degree that you get, which again I'll talk about a little bit more as we go through, isn't just sport-based. The facilities, again, Jade, if you want to talk about the facilities both at Montevallo and North Georgia, I guess even compared to when you were at Leeds and then where you are at Sheffield United now.
Mm-hmm. So when I first got out there, I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, you see photos online and you see stuff on Twitter, but as soon as I got out there and saw the facilities of the first university I was at, University of Montevallo, it was a small university, but the facilities were fantastic. Like, there was a swimming pool for recovery, treatment rooms for physio, quite a big sized gym which we used for strength and conditioning, and a grass pitch at the back. So the facilities there were really good, and the same at the second university too. They really do put a lot of money into athletics over there, and you can tell by the facilities that you see at the different universities you're travelling to as well.
And as Jade talked about, we went to university. So the University of Montevallo, just to give kind of a little bit of perspective, had 2,500 students, so it was a really small university. I'll never forget the first morning that I woke up and the coach took me around campus, and as Jade said, we came to something which is called a student activity centre, which houses all the sports. And as I say, really small university in Alabama, and he was walking us around and he was showing there was a gym, basketball courts, swimming pool, more physio beds than I'd ever seen before, changing rooms, and they'd built that a year before, and they'd just spent $12 million on that kind of complex. And as I say, this was by no means a massive Division 1 school or anything like that. It was a small Division 2 school, which for me blew me away. As I say, I was at Doncaster at the time, and who were in League One, and there was no comparison. The facilities at the University of Montevallo were far superior. So they are top facilities that you're getting over in America. You get to experience a new country. From my side, I played with Brazilians, I played with Argentinians. Obviously, you got the American players, and you get to see a whole new culture, which for me brought me on as a person off the field as well as on the field. Obviously, opens up doors for the professional. You've got the professional game, so you've got the NWSL, which they use a draft system over in America. And then again, Jade, probably again the best person to talk about this side of things. Coming back over here, how was the transition from obviously the American college game to coming back and, as you say, where you are now with Sheffield United?
I felt like my time over there prepared me for coming back. I feel like since I've come back, I've developed my game. I'm more athletic now I've come back. And like I said before, the setup over there is just like being professional. So I was ready for that environment once I came back.
No, definitely. And it's probably a good time to kind of, as I say, talk about your Division 2 school, as I say. We're both Montevallo and the University of North Georgia. Do you want to explain a little bit about, I guess, the standard that was within that at the Division 2 level?
Yeah. There's different conferences at Division 2, and the conference we were in was the Peach Belt, which is one of the highest in that division. So the standard was really high. And I think coming back as well, the standard is just as high over here. So I think, again, the standard was good enough over there to prepare me for coming home to playing semi-professionally over here.
And as you talked about, you said it was like being a professional over there. Obviously, we've talked about the facilities and the fact that you're training every day. I didn't know if you wanted to give like a little bit of background just to kind of how well you are looked after, say, when you went on away trips, for example, and obviously you stay in hotels and all the food's kind of sorted for you. If you wanted to just touch upon, I guess, what a normal away trip would be like over in America.
Yeah, so a lot of the times when you're traveling to away trips, you're traveling for 6-7 hours. They are quite long away trips. So the coaches that they get for you are really nice. So one of the coaches we went on had beds on. So you're traveling to away trips. And then once you're in the hotel, you're normally sharing with one other person. And then, yeah, they look after you, that all your food's provided. They're making sure that you're eating right. There's different ways they look after you recovery-wise. And then, yeah, you're making use of the swimming pools in the hotel. But, yeah, that's the away trips were a really good part of it.
Oh, definitely. And as we've kind of, the part I wanted to talk about now is, as you talked about Jade and myself as well, we were at a small Division 2 school. So just to give you kind of, I guess, a little bit of background onto how the seasons work. You've got over there, you've got the NCAA, you've got the NAIA, and you've got junior college. So your NCAA Division 1 schools are your big schools. NCAA Division 2, the smaller schools like Jade and myself went to. You've got NAIA, which is very similar to NCAA Division 2. And I'd say the majority of players go into NCAA or NAIA. And then you've got junior college as well, which stands for your final 2 years, when you're over in America. But it's important to realise that each school is placed in a division based on the size. So it's not necessarily the fact that if you go to a D2 school, you're playing at a lower kind of standard than you would the majority of D1 schools. And I don't know if you want to talk about, Jay, did you ever, especially in the spring season, which we'll talk about in a little bit, did you ever play against Division 1 teams, and how did you fare against those teams?
Yeah, so the spring season, you play 5 non-competitive games, and you usually do play against Division 1 teams just to sort of test yourself against those. And we always competed. We played the University of Georgia, we played the University of Alabama, and it's just also an opportunity to go see their facilities and just to see where they play, just because their universities, like John said, are a lot bigger than what we were playing at. So it was also a great opportunity to go and play there.
And you talked about Alabama, for example, and as I've said previously, one of the things that we look for is to get the best fit for the player. So for me, the University of Alabama I think it's about 30,000 students, and I remember walking around their campus, and it was like a city within itself. So for me, it's one of the reasons why we work so closely with our players, in the fact that we look to get the best fit. For me, a small university was ideal for me, and I'm sure it kind of was for you as well, Jade, through your experience. So as I kind of said within that, the standard of football itself, I would say, especially if you take the top 25 teams out of D1, if you've got your top D2 teams were to play against your Division 1 teams, they would more than compete. So that's certainly something to certainly think about. The dreaded pre-season. So Jade, I don't know if you want to talk about what pre-season's like over in America.
Yeah, so pre-season usually consists of training twice a day. Where we were in Alabama, it was really hot in August time. So we usually trained early on a morning to try and avoid the heat. And then later in the afternoon, we'd probably do more ball work when it was really hot. So it is tough going into it because there's a lot of fitness tests. And they are looking to make you pass tests in order to play. So it was important for me to sort of follow plans before going out. So I was ready when I got there. And I found it, once I was out there, I found I was fit enough. And I found the fitness tests not easy, but I was able to do them just because I'd prepared beforehand.
No, definitely. It's something that we do as well, because as Jay touched upon, it is those first 3 or 4 weeks, especially the first year when you go out there, I would say are the toughest. And it's a good time to bring in that we talk with all our players about there can be a little issue with homesickness, which for me is only natural when players go over there. We understand that it is such a big move to go over to America, that especially those first kind of, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks when, as Jade says, you're training twice a day, you're doing fitness tests, you're tired. And the great thing about social media is that you want to go away from obviously FaceTime and speaking with people back home. But on the flip side of things, when you see your mates back home enjoying summer, they're all together, it can be hard those first 3 or 4 weeks. And it's one of the reasons why, as a company, we follow it all the way through. And we help players settle those first 3 or 4 weeks, which can be tough. As I say, for me, it's a big move. And as Jade said, pre-season that I did in America were by far the hardest. But then on the flip side of it, I'd never been fitter. So come the season, I was razor sharp in the fact that, and I think that was the reason why that was the best 4 years, kind of football-wise for me. And as Jade talked about, that's the kind of preparation you want. So if you're coming back into the Women's Championship or the WSL, you're ready to go. So pre-seasons are tough, but you will get through them. And as I say, we help players get through them with stuff they can do beforehand. But once you get through that, as I say, for me, I'd never been fitter, and I'm sure Jade was the same. So main part of the season, games start at the end of August and can run into December. So that first part of the season is you can have 20, 25 games. And that's when, as I put down there, you might be playing 2 games a week. So if you're on a long away trip, as Jade said, that's 7 or 8 hours away, you might find yourself playing 2 games while you're away. So it's busy, but you're getting a lot of football, which is great. I love that main part of the season. But then on the other side of it, spring season, which runs from January to April, you're still training pretty much every day, but there's less games, not as competitive. And the reason for that is the fact that you're going over there as a student athlete. So you're going over there to play football at a high level, which is a great privilege. But then most importantly, you're going over there to get a degree. So from my side of things, I took more classes in the spring, which allowed me to kind of catch up, I guess, on the hours that I needed to graduate within the 4 years. So that's the main reason why the season is split up as it is. Just a little bit about kind of what we're looking for. Obviously, talented footballers, which I'm sure you all are on this call. Just to give you a little bit of background, we've helped players from grassroots level up to kind of youth internationals. And there is a level for everybody. And again, as I talked about, that's why we look to help players all the way through the system. So obviously, we're looking for talented footballers. You've got to have that desire to gain a degree. Jade, I'm just going to bring you back in now. As I talked about, it's obviously it is a demanding schedule. But do you want to talk about obviously the degree that you got and how it's helped you kind of after you finished over in America?
Yeah, so I got a sports science degree over there, and then I also got my master's in public administration. And since coming back, I've transitioned into sports development officer. So using my sports science degree that way.
No, definitely. And I was the same, as we talked about, that you are able to study whatever you want when you're over there. You can also, if there's a couple of subjects you want to do, you can do your major in one subject like sports science, and then if while you're over there you might find you like doing something like psychology, and you can do a minor in that as well. So there's different options that you can take on the academic side. Obviously, we're looking for good people who will represent our company. So players like Molly in the picture, who was at Barry University and is now with Durham, playing at the same level as Jade, people like Jade. So good people. For us, it's really important because, as I've talked about, you're going over there to get a degree. Obviously, you need to be a good footballer. The degree side is important as well, but you need to be, I say, a good person. You are the face of SRUSA. So for us, that's something that we take really seriously. Players who want to better themselves, this is on both the academic side, so in the classroom, but also on the football pitch as well. So you're pushing yourself in training, every training session, every game, because you want to improve and you want to get better. And it's one of the reasons why we hold so many events throughout the year. So we hold maybe between 10 and 12 events because we want to see players pushing themselves. So we keep a regular track of players once they sign up, and we get to see them regularly for that interaction. So continue to push yourselves. As I say, in training, whether you're doing GCSEs, A-level, BTEC, always wanted to make yourself better. Athletic and healthy individuals. Jade, I'll bring you back in. Obviously, when you're over in America, do you want to just talk a little bit about how seriously they take the athletic side of things, and then obviously healthy eating, healthy drinking as well?
Yeah, so a lot of the American girls out there are really athletic. So they look to bring in internationals in for the technical side, so they can sort of combine the two. Whilst being out there, it really did help me develop my athletic side. We were training every day, and we're in the weight room every day too. So that helped me gain strength, but also become faster too. So it really did help develop my game.
And I'm going to put a quick question to you. Do you think without the American experience, you'd have been able to kind of, I guess, slot back into the level that you're at now in England as well as you did?
I think personally for me, I probably wouldn't be where I am now without my time in America. I think it just prepared me for this and helped me develop into the player I am now.
That's great. And then finally, obviously what we're looking for, we want people who want to be student athletes. So as I kind of talked about, and we always talk about this part, there's a reason why student comes before athlete. Going over there and playing football is a massive privilege. And as I say, you can pick up scholarship money that helps pay for stuff like tuition, housing, food, that side of things. So that privilege of playing football is just amazing. But the most important thing is that you're going over there to study for a degree. And that's the degree that you can use for the rest of your life. And as Jade touched upon, like the away trips are hard. So if you're traveling away on a Thursday morning and you might not return until Sunday night, and it might be late on Sunday night, you'll be expected to be in class on Monday morning. So as I say, it can be tough, especially during season. But on the flip side of it, you just have an amazing time. As I say, the football's at a really high level. And as I say, you come out of it with a degree as well. So that's really important. Just to give you a little bit of a background, kind of what's involved in our individual service. So every player gets a GPS unit. As we talked about before, we're always looking for players to push themselves. We've all been in a situation before where might not feel 100% or might hide a little bit in training. What the GPS unit does is it tracks stuff like sprint distance, distance covered in a game, distance covered in training, how fast you run. So this has taken our players, since we've had it the last 18 months to 2 years, onto that next level. And it's something coaches look for as well, which is great that we're able to give them that information. Something that's really important, we guide players kind of all the way through. So from the start, once players sign up with us, we put together a player profile, highlight video, everything along that side. Then obviously you're not left when once offers start coming in. We help you with that side of things with our experience and advice. And then we help, as I say, with the admission side of things with visas, and we've all been through this process, so we can pull from our experiences and help and make it as least stressful as possible. And then even when you go over to America, so for me, seeing the players go over there, seeing them flourish and become great student athletes is probably the most rewarding part of what I do. And it's one of the reasons why we follow it all the way through. But then again, as I say, stuff like homesickness, we help players settle in. So for me, it's really important, that side of things, that we help players through, especially that first little bit once they get over there. And then, as you say, Jade, obviously, when you came back, do you want to just explain in a bit more detail, I guess, how we kind of helped you, as you say, transition back into the game over here?
Yeah, so my final year over in America, I wasn't playing, I was coaching. I loved it, I enjoyed coaching, but that made me realise that I wanted to come back and I wanted to carry on playing. So at the time, I knew John was the manager of Harrogate Town, so I'd sort of reached out to him to say, can I come back, can I sign for you, and sort of get back playing and get my fitness up and just start enjoying the game again. And after half a season there, I was then signed by Doncaster Bells. That season we won the Super League 2, and then that again helped me then move on to Sheffield and where I am now.
And do you want to just, obviously you said that last year in America you obviously weren't playing. Do you want to just explain a little bit about, obviously, because most players go over there, they do the 4 years and then they kind of come back. But do you want to explain a little bit more about the master side of things and why you obviously coached for that last year?
So you are allowed 4 years of eligibility over there, so you can play for 4 years. So at my first university where I did my undergrad, I was there 4 years, but I only played for 3 because of an injury. So that meant I still had 1 year left to play. So then that meant I could go to another university to do my masters, play for my final season, and then coach as the grad assistant for the second season. And coaching's something that I've always loved, and I've always sort of been involved in. So I did want to do that side of it, but it just sort of made me realise that I wasn't ready to be done playing.
No, definitely. And as I just touched upon, most players obviously go over at 18, 19, and then they do the 4 years, and then they either stay over there and they work, and they luckily enough, if they can play professionally or come back here and play professionally. So Jade went a little bit of a different route, and as I say, she was able to pick up scholarship all the years she was there, and also pick up a master's degree as well, which she's obviously used kind of moving forward, which has been great. So individual promotion, we only take on a certain number of players per year. As I talked about before, what's really important on this side is that we look to give you guys the best chance to get the best fit. And there's certain aspects that you need to look at. It might be location, it might be, as I say, size of school, it might be how you get on with the coach. And because we only take a certain amount on, it gives us the best opportunity to get the best fit for you guys. So we only take on a certain number of players. Highlight video, which for me is really important in the fact that that is the first thing a coach will see when they're over in America. So we take care of all that side of things. And as I say, it's one of the reasons why we hold so many events, is the fact that we film all the events and we look to build up a big picture for the coaches in the fact that we can get as much highlight video footage together. And that's one thing that when I email out the information tomorrow with the information pack, what I'll do is I'll put some highlight videos on that email for you to have a look and kind of see exactly what we do, because they are really professional, and for me, we take a lot of pride in it, and they are really important. The dreaded SAT. Jade, do you want to talk a little bit about the SAT, which is obviously the entrance exam before you go over to America?
Yeah. So the SAT's probably unlike anything we've ever done over here. It's a standardised test, so there's lots of multiple choice questions. So all I'd recommend doing is going through the revision book. It is a useful tool. Just going over all the questions to familiarise yourself with what that test looks like, and then when it comes to taking it, you're prepared, and it is okay once you've done all the revision.
Yeah, and as you say, the hardest part about the SAT is, because it's an American standardised test, is the way that it's formatted. So as part of the SAT revision book, there are 8 practice exams, which are in the back. And for me, as I say to all the girls, I don't expect, because it is a very thick book, I don't expect players to read it page by page, but what I do expect is you to go through those practice exams, which for me are invaluable. And again, this was something we brought in 18 months to 2 years ago. And the results have gone up over that time. So it's a really important tool that we offer all our players. Get the attendance at the annual showcase. I know a few girls that are on the call today played in the recent one at Harrogate, where coaches fly over from America. We had just under 40 coaches with us this year who come and watch the players play live. This was the 5th one that we'd run, and every year the number and the standard of coaches continues to increase. And that's because they know they can trust us with the fact that we've got good players, we've got good academics, and as we talked about before, are good people. So the annual showcase is a really important event that we run once a year alongside the kind of 10 other trial events and ID camps that we run. Talked about before the partnership with She Kicks. They're free magazines at all our events. And the final one, you become part of this kind of bigger, I guess, family network. And now, Jade, you've worked quite a few kind of trial events. Do you want to give just a little bit of background, I guess, about what a trial event's like and how the SRUSA family is as a big group?
Yeah, the trial events are just a great opportunity to get together with other girls that are looking to do the same thing. You get to talk to girls that are doing it at the moment, that are in America. You get to talk to people who have come back and have finished the journey. But also you just get to play, gain footage, and prepare yourself ready for the showcases. So it's a good chance to play with each other before the showcases. And it's just a great day, and a great atmosphere and a great environment to be playing in.
And we always bring players like Jade, as I say, Molly Sharp. We get, I guess, these people involved who've been through it on the female side and have been through it recently and have done really well in America, and the fact that they're there to talk to you. So it might be, as I say, after tonight, I'm sure, Jade, if people don't want to ask you questions on here, feel free to reach out to her. And what I will do is if it's okay with her, I'll put your email address, Jade, tomorrow on the email that I send out. And if you want to ask Jade questions, she'd be more than welcome to kind of answer them as I say, if it's not tonight, then obviously further down the line, because as I say, Jade's been through it. She's very, very modest, but she was an All-American, so top level over there. And as I say, she's done both the undergrad and masters. So she's an invaluable member kind of the SRUSA family. And just finally, some of you will see we tried to get the girls involved in everything. So we're currently doing a run for the NHS to raise money for them over the month of May, running from London to New York. So we get all the girls involved, and within 24 hours, over 60 players had signed up for that. So it just gives you a bit of an idea of kind of this SRUSA kind of family network that you become part of. As I said, I didn't want to kind of throw too much information at you tonight. And as I say, I'll send some information out on email to you tomorrow, which will go into a bit more detail. But just kind of 3 things, if I could ask for you to remember from the presentation. You get your personal individualised service. So we help players all the way through, and we look to get the best fit for the players. Before, during, and after care. So before you go over, we take care of everything with regards to the admission side, the highlight video, helping you with the SAT. During your time in America, we're only a phone call away or a text away if you need any help or anything like that. And then, as Jade talked about, you've got the aftercare. So when you come back, we've got a network of coaches over here now that if you are looking to get back into the game, whether it's, as I say, WSL, Women's Championship, FA Women's Premier League, or just within the regional leagues, we've got a network of good coaches and, again, good people. And for me, what an opportunity. I always talk at this stage about the jealousy and the fact that you girls have got this in front of you if you want it. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. As I say, you're studying for a degree, you're playing football at a really high level, and you get a life experience like no other. For me, as I say, it was a long time ago for me, but those 4 years went by in the blink of an eye. You've got a great opportunity, and all the information's there for you. And we really want to help you with that. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add just on top of that, Jade.
No, I agree with you. It went by so quick, I can't believe it. Came up on my time hop the other day that I'd graduated 5 years ago, and I still can't believe it was that long ago. It's just an exciting time for you girls. You're just about to start a fantastic journey, and I wish I could go back in time, and I wish I could do it all over again, because it was the best choice and best decision that I ever made. And I just think that going forward, it's something that everyone should think about doing.
That's great, Jade. As I say, what I'll do is I'll leave this information up just for a minute or two, and then I think some questions have been firing through, which we can look to go through just on the chat. As I say, there'll be an email going out tomorrow with much more information on, just to give you kind of a bit of background. I'll put Jade's email on there. There'll be a few videos for you to watch, a few highlight videos as well. And then I think if we'll just look through the questions, Jade, and we'll pick out a few. We won't stay on forever.
Okay.
But I think some of the really important ones, which will be really good to kind of for us to answer. I'll just. So, question for you, Jade. What age did you start the scholarship process?
I think it was 17, with the hopes of going out at 18.
And kind of just to kind of add on to that, we have so players as young as kind of 14, 15 getting the information, which is great to get the information as early as possible. For me, we don't rush players into making a decision because it is a big decision. But we've had players kind of as young as 15, 16 who are looking to go, obviously, when they're 18, 19. We normally say give yourself kind of 18 months to 2 years. That gives you the ideal time, and the ideal time for us to really build a strong profile for you as well. Jade, is it easy to balance academic study with football?
Yeah, so once you first go out there, they recommend taking 5 classes per semester, just because that is easy to manage both. Training's fitted around your schedule, and you've always got enough free time to sort of catch up with the lessons that you miss when you're on away trips. And like I said before, the journeys are quite long, so there's always time on the coach to do any work that you're missing.
What was a daily routine? So do you want to just give an example maybe of what an pre-season was like, and then during season?
Yeah. So pre-season, like I said before, we were in Alabama, so it was really hot. So we'd get up early on a morning, have breakfast, then do our first session, which was usually running, fitness, before the sun came up. Then we'd have some free time. We'd meet, have lunch, then we'd have some free time. Then in the afternoon, we'd then go out and train again. And this was usually just games, small-sided games, and 11v11. And then we'd have free time at night. Then during season, it depends on what time your training is. So the coach has to look at everybody's schedule and try and find a time that best suits everyone. So it really does just depend when training is. So we trained one season, we trained early morning, so we trained at 6 a.m. before classes. And then after that, we'd have breakfast, and then you'd have about 5 classes throughout the day, broke up into different times. Then you'd have time for lunch, and then dinner, and then free time on a night. But also we've trained in the afternoon and at night. It just depends on what fits best for everybody's schedule.
One question here, which I'll answer, is it common to move between universities, and if so, how does it work regarding your degree? So you can transfer universities when you're over there. I went through obviously 4 years at University of Montevallo. I was settled there, but you have the opportunity if you want to say if you started in Division 2, if you wanted to transfer to Division 1. It's not actually that difficult to do, and it's one of the reasons why we help players once they're over there. There's no added extra cost or anything like that. So if players do want to transfer, we help them with it. And as I say, it is relatively easy to do. Most players stay at the same place for 4 years, but you can transfer, and you can transfer those degree classes over as well. So there's no issue on that side of things. Here's a good one, Jade. Which university did you prefer and why?
I don't know if I could pick between the two. I had different experiences at both. So the first University of Montevallo, there was quite a lot of internationals. So our team was full of internationals. Whereas the second university, there was me and a Swedish girl. So it was different experiences, but I enjoyed both universities the same.
How did you get into coaching in America?
So over in America, club soccer is just as big. So there's ways that you can coach as well as doing your university degree, which is what I did. I was able to coach a under-10 club team. That helped me save some money as well, but I really enjoyed doing it. And then when it came to transferring to the University in North Georgia for grad school, I had a season left where I was finishing my degree, and that's when I began coaching.
That's great. With a question here, how many players have gone through the system, and are we based in the north of England? We obviously we run events throughout England, up north. I'm based just outside Leeds in Harrogate, but we run events, as I say, up north, Doncaster and York. We run events in the Midlands, and we run events down south as well. And we have just over 40 players going this year. Over the 5 years, it's probably just under 150 players that we've placed. So as I say, that experience and the quality of players that we've had go over means we've built up a great rapport with coaches that are over in America as well. How do you get drafted? So that's a good question. So obviously the draft, if you want to go professional afterwards, the draft, they pick players from the college system. So there is a summer league that you can play in as well to get yourself noticed. But it's really just about obviously doing well over there as a player, coaches at the professional level seeing you play, and then giving you that opportunity to go on after that. One for you, Jay. Did you get a lot of game time coming in as a D2 school as a freshman?
Yes. So my freshman year was a little bit different because I'd gone in and I got injured in pre-season. So I didn't play my freshman year at all because I missed it through injury. So that meant that's how I had that extra year of eligibility later on. But when I did finally play the next year, yeah, I got a lot of game time. It just depends on how hard you work and how much you prove yourself. And if you're working hard in training, then you're likely to get a lot of game time.
That's great. What qualifications do you need from the UK school system to be able to gain access to this opportunity? So as I talked about before, what you really need is obviously GCSEs. The minimum that you need is maths, English, science, and then 2 other subjects at kind of C or above. And then after that, at least 2 A-levels, or on the BTEC side of things, you need a BTEC level 3 extended diploma, and that kind of keeps everything open for you, all the different levels when you're over there. you think the trials will go ahead in July? We're hoping so. They might be changed just a little bit if social distancing is still taking place. There might not be the opportunity to play matches as such, but what we'll be looking to do is obviously some more kind of individual technical work. We've got sessions in place that don't require kind of that interaction between player and player. And hopefully, as I say, we'll just be keeping an eye on things over the next kind of 6 to 8 weeks for those events. A good question, Jade. Were the teams in America welcoming, and did you feel a strong connection as a team? Did you feel homesick?
It's obviously natural when you first get over there to feel a little bit homesick, but the team is like a family and they do really welcome you in, and you find that a lot of the American families are like a family away from home, and they really do take you in and look after you to make sure that it is an easy transition for you, because it is hard when you're moving away from home at 18. But everybody there, from your teammates to the coaches to your teammates' family, really do help and make the transition quite easy.
Another good question. Obviously, just looking at, did you come back to England on holidays? If so, how often?
Yeah, so on holidays, so there's Christmas and summer. It's completely up to you when you come home. I came home every Christmas, and most summers I did stay out and play a couple of summers. But there is also the option to stay out and do summer school. So it just sort of depends on you when you want to come home.
Did you live with other people while you were over there?
Yeah, so the first 4 years I stayed on campus with 2 other girls. And then at my second university, while I was doing my masters, I lived in a house off campus with 2 other girls. So yeah, I lived with people from the team, both universities.
That's great. We'll just pick the last kind of couple of questions out. There's been a load more, but what I'll do is I've got all the questions here. I'll copy them down. The ones that I don't answer here, I'll answer an email as well. So is the level of football and the style of game different from England to America?
It is slightly different. Like I've said before, Americans are very athletic, and they focus quite a lot on strength and fitness. But that's why they look to bring in internationals in, just to sort of mix in athletic and technical side. But like I said before, it did develop me as a player by being able to focus on that side of my game as well as the technical side.
Good question here. Do we run events in Ireland and Northern Ireland? So we've recently started in Ireland and Northern Ireland. We've got the head scout on here, Danny Murray, who's just back from Limestone. And it's something that we're kind of looking to develop. Obviously, once, again, COVID-19 kind of calms down a little bit. So, as I say, I've got all the other questions. If I haven't answered them, apologies for that. I will answer them, though, in the email. I don't know if you just want to finish up, Jade, just with kind of your last thoughts. And then I'll just have a quick chat just to finish up.
Thank you for listening. And like John said, if you do have any other questions you want me to answer, I'd be happy to answer them. So I'll make sure my email gets passed on. And just, it is an exciting time for you. So just sit down and think about it. But also, going forward, for me, it was the best decision I ever made. And I'd just like to hope that other people get that opportunity too.
That's great, Jade. As I say, from my side of things, a big thanks to everybody who's been on tonight. We really appreciate you coming on and obviously listening to Jade. A big thank you to you, Jade. As I say, you're an inspiration for a lot of our girls. And it's great for someone to be on who's kind of been through the process. And then you've come out the other side and are obviously doing so well at Sheffield United now. Just finally from me, as I say, there'll be an email. I've got everybody's email address, and there'll be an email that goes out tomorrow that'll just give you a bit more information about us. I'll stick Jade's email on there. I'll stick some videos on there as well, which you can have a look at. And then if you need me for anything, please feel free to either drop me a text, drop me an email. I'll kind of happily answer as many questions as you want, because it is a big decision. But as Jade said, it's a very exciting time for you. I wish I was back in your position again, because I had the experience of a lifetime, and it's something that I wish I could go through again. So we hope you found it really interesting. Thanks again, Jade, and I'll be in contact with everybody very soon. Thank you very much.